regardless of whether or not you have children of your own, you could probably identify with this at some point. Let's just say you had an empty room with nothing in it but a bucket and a ball. And you put two 10-year-old boys in that room with no instruction and shut the door and had them in there for an hour. What do you think is going to happen? I'm gonna bet that one of two things, maybe more, is going to happen. Either they will engage in a game or a battle. It's gonna be one or the other. And I would bet, without even having a look inside that room, you could open the door after an hour, the two boys come out, and I bet you could ask this question, so who won? And you would get an answer, right? Right, because there's something inside of little boys that loves just to compete. I remember me and my brother, we were the same way. I was 4 years older. So I definitely had the upper hand in most of our little competitions. But we loved that competition, that rivalry, that bottom line, we love to win. And sometimes it's competing against each other. Other times it's competing together. Like, hey, let's see how many times if you put that bucket on your head, I can bounce it off the ground and then the wall, and then you catch in your head in a row. All right. Right, so we're working together, but either way, we want to find a way to win something, somehow. Maybe it's not a game, maybe it's a bullet and a shield, all right? Let's see who gets hit the least, right? We want to find a winner. There's something inside, and I don't believe it's just a little boy thing. I believe it's a big boy thing too, right? We love to win. I think it's not just a boy thing, I think it's a female thing too. I believe there's something, and I believe it's a God-given thing inside of us that we just love to win, don't we? Right? We love to win. I grew up playing sports, and so it's just a very, very obvious outlet for this very thing, right? There's very, very clear measurables. I know who wins and who loses, and I want to be on the winning side every time. I played as a kid. I played in high school. And our high school team, I was on a good team like my freshman year, but I rode the bench and I had 13 seconds in the championship game. Woohoo, right? I really made a difference, right? But when it was on my shoulders, my junior, senior year, we were just kind of meh, right? We won more games than we lost, but by barely. And it was fun. We loved it. We'd win. And then I got the chance to play in college. And it wasn't like, we're talking like really small college, playing against like Christian schools and stuff. So, but I got the chance to play in college. Well, I did not realize, I was going there to study for the ministry. What I did not realize is they had actually won in their little Christian college conference. They're not even conference, their division thing. They had won the national championship. I'm like, that's cool. And what I did not realize is the difference between high school ball and college ball, even at small college ball. And I don't even think it was high school and college. I think it was the difference between just a normal team and a team that had a culture of winning. There was something different about this culture of winning. On the outside, the coach was nice and everybody was, and you work hard and everything, but there was a level of intensity that was raised. I remember in high school, we'd practice hard, then you'd do like conditioning at the end. And then I get to college. And then I get to college, and literally, I'm talking literally, what we did in high school as conditioning, in high school we called it suicides, right? Just intense or suicide. What we did in high school as conditioning at the end of practice, we did in college for warm-ups before we stretched. Like literally. And all of a sudden, there was a bar that was raised. And I don't think it was just the high schools and college kids are bigger and stronger and faster than high school kids. It was a difference in a culture. One, we do conditioning at the end of the practice because we ought to. That's what you're supposed to do. The other was, hey, we're going to run hard because we win, and that's what we do. And there was a shift. There was something that changed. And what I began to learn is that this team, this college team, CBC, the Spartans, we worked hard and we won. That's just what it is. I didn't realize the coach that I played for had been there for like 25 years. He had like 20 consecutive seasons of 20 plus wins. Like he was just a win. He knew how to win. And we worked hard for it. See, I believe that many of us have a clear understanding of that. Maybe it's not in the sports field, but it's in a variety of other fields. And that's why I love this text that we're going to turn to today. 1 Corinthians chapter 9. If you got your Bibles, turn your Bibles to 1 Corinthians chapter 9. And what we see here is this pep talk, this locker room pep talk, I believe, from the Apostle Paul. In fact, it comes in the middle of a set. If you really want to do some extra study, I encourage you to read 1 Corinthians 8 through 10. You can't take any single verse from that passage without comparing it to the rest, okay? So read, we don't have the time today, but read 1 Corinthians chapter 8 through 10. Write that down, study it this week. It's good text, it's rich. But I just want to focus in on the middle of that. It's the end of 1 Corinthians 9, verses 24 through 27. And it really resonates with me, and I hope it does with you. Paul says this, do you not know that in a race, verse 24, do you not know in the race that all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. I love the way the New Living Translation puts it. The first sentence is almost the same. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? And that next sentence is just so simple. Run to win. Run to win. And that's what I want to talk about for this week and next week. Run to win. What does that look like? What does that mean? Well, let's continue in our text today. He goes on, he says, everyone who competes in the game goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I don't run like a man running aimlessly. No, I do not fight like a man beating the air. No, I beat my body. I make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize. I love this. So often, Christianity gets spun as this really passive, nice guy religion, right? But you can't read that and get that. I picture the Apostle Paul before a football game in a helmet all suited up. And he's got the starters there, and they're all, you're getting the whole like, yeah, kind of thing going on, right? Here we go. We run to win. Right? We've put in the training. We've done the work. It's time to show up. Here we go. It's this boost of energy. Run to win. Thing is, maybe you have no sports background. That does not connect with you at all, but I know that most of us have endured something along these lines. Maybe sports isn't your world. Maybe music is. Maybe you say, I've never shot free throws until I couldn't get a ball above my shoulders. But maybe you've held that trombone until you couldn't even lift it anymore. Right? Maybe you've not done a zillion tackling drills, but maybe you've strummed that guitar until your fingers bled and then went 2 more hours. You know what it was. There was a prize at the end, and you knew what it was. You wanted to win. Maybe it wasn't a score on a scoreboard, but it was the first chair or the lead in the band. Maybe you're like, you're still missing me. How about the academic world? You go, man, I need to get an A on this test, and you bust it for it. Maybe you go, okay, and you put your entire social life on hold because you got to invest your life in this research so that you can write your thesis. Maybe it's a business world where you go, okay, I'm going to empty my bank account because I'm going to invest everything I have because I believe in it, because I want to turn a profit in year 2 of my business. Maybe it's because I am going to make huge sacrifices so I can do what it takes to prepare so I can nail that presentation because I want to get that promotion. See, we know what it means to sacrifice for a win. It may not ever be a number on a scoreboard, but I'm guessing that most of us can understand exactly what I'm talking about. And that's why I love this passage so much. You don't have to know sports, although that's the metaphor that Paul uses. We get this. We want to win. In life, we want to win. In sports, we want to win. In music, we want to win. In academics, we want to win. In business, we want to win. In our relationships, we want to win. There's this thing inside of us, and when we know what the prize is, nothing will stop us, right? I will warm up with suicides because I know what the target is, and I'll do whatever it takes to get it. Now, but we got to see, Paul's not talking about sports, really, or music, or academia, or business. He's talking about our spiritual lives. And what's so interesting is that we have this thing, and I'll tell you how I've experienced this before. I grew up going to Bible college, and everybody is, at least the generation that I went to Bible college, everybody's like, hey, you got to guard your heart. This isn't a competitive thing, right? Ministry is not this competitive thing, but I'm a competitive guy, so that's hard for me to know that my work environment is not supposed to be competitive. But the more I dwell and meditate on this concept, I don't think that competitive spirit, some would say, is like almost like the devil, right? That's just pride welling up inside me. I believe God made me competitive because it reflects part of his nature. Now, I can allow that to get rooted in some weird things and go, hey, Crossroads is bigger than the church down the street. I win. Right? Or easily go, that church plant has twice as many people as us? Come on. It's easily twisted. But when I get a divine perspective, I believe it's used for the kingdom of God. I go, they're reaching people, we're not. Praise God. We got a neighborhood that we've got access to that they don't. Let's go get them. Right? Let's win. And so I don't believe that competitive thing is something to be squashed and pushed down. I believe God has given us this desire to win. But now let's look at our real lives. Back to John 10:10 again. For I've come that you'd have life and you'd have it to the full. I would say that the full life would be a life characterized by wins, right? Nobody likes losing. And yet if we were to ask, just go around, tell me about some recent wins in your life. It might be a lot easier to find recent losses. Part of it is our perspective, but there's another part that just go, why does it seem I don't win as often as I feel like I should? God came that I'd have the fullness of life, and I would imagine that winning, is a lot more full than losing. Though there's some richness we can learn from losing. But I believe when we read in the scriptures that we are more than conquerors, I don't think that was just flowery language. I believe that God put inside of each and every one of us this thing, this desire to win, and he's empowered us to be conquerors in the world that we live in. So why do we continue to lose? Why don't we see more wins in our life? Why don't we see more wins in our life? I want to look at that. I want to look at a couple possible reasons. Paul says, run to win. Run to win. So my freshman year playing basketball at Central Bible College, I injured myself, and I was on the IR. And so for this one particular game, we're playing a school called Messenger. It is a small, tiny little Christian school. And by anything that I say preceding there, no disrespect, they're tiny. The pool they're drawing for them is so little. Their school is smaller than most Lincoln High School graduating classes, right? So small little school, not very many people draw from. Naturally, they're just not very good. But they were nearby, so we played them every year. And they were coming to our place. And the guys on our team, we just won a national championship. Most of the team is returning. The team was just really good. And we're playing this tiny little school, and they're just not very good. And so it's kind of hard to get up for a game like that. Like when you play 100 times, you will win 100 times, no matter what. And yet, so we go into this game, and it's still my freshman year. I'm still learning coach. I'm still learning this system, and I'm still learning this culture. And I'm at the bench keeping stats, and our guys are having a good time. Alley-oop passes and between the legs, fancy stuff. They're padding the stats. They're creating a highlight reel for themselves, having a great time. Halftime, we're up by 14. And so I go into the locker room with the rest of the team. We get in there. And, 14, obviously we'd like to be up by a little bit more than that to a team that's not very good, but whatever. I mean, it's a double-digit lead. So we're all in there just casual as can be, and Coach walks into the locker room. And he was livid. Like, I know he's a Christian man. But it'd have been hard to tell in that moment, right? Like he lit us up. I remember thinking, Coach, we're winning. What is the big deal? So anyway, needless to say, the first 5 minutes of the second half were a lot different than the first half, okay? We quickly pushed it to well over 20, and Coach left the starters in a little longer, not to stick it to the team, but just to show the starters, like, hey, listen, I need you to show me you can play no matter what. Even if you're winning, you can play your best. So bench eventually gets in, and they go, and they still build the lead, even with our bench in and all that. And we finish the game, we win by 34 points. So we go into the locker room, and everybody's, really more than anything, we're talking about the bench playing. They don't get to play much, so they're talking all that kind of stuff. And I'm hanging out with my friends who got to play. Again, I'm on the bench there. At the time, I was bummed I didn't get playing time. In a moment, I'll be glad I was injured. Anyway, and then Coach walks in. After a few minutes, we start to get dressed, head to the showers. Coach walks in the locker room, and he says, "Get your jerseys back on. I'll be back." And he walks out. I'm thinking, I don't know what's about to happen, but I'm glad I'm wearing a shirt and tie right now. He comes back, so you ever get really sweaty and gross and then try to put that shirt back on? Anyway, so they're getting redressed, and I'm just sitting there like going, what's going on? And he comes in about 10 minutes later. In those 10 minutes, he had gone out, he'd cleared the gym. He'd kicked everybody out of the gym. He put away all the basketballs, and he turned the lights off. And he comes back in their locker room and says, all right, guys, time for practice. Baseline. And so I go to the score clock, and I'm running the clock. I'm definitely cheating for him because I felt bad for him. And they do nothing but do sprint work and defensive drills for the next half hour. And I'm going, Coach, we won by 34 points. Come on. And for a while, I was kind of bitter and frustrated and upset. And I'm like, I don't get it. But after going through the program with him, I realized something. I realized that his win was different than our win. Right? We were just looking at the temporal win. We looked at the win that was right in front of us. Score more points than the other team. This should be easy. You see, but Coach wasn't worried about messenger. Coach wanted to win championships. And so his win was not, do we score more points? That's a given. His win was, I want to see my team play disciplined basketball that we're supposed to play and not get distracted by the things that are going on around. All that our guys saw was highlight reels. You see, our coach, he saw what we were capable of. We just saw what was in front of us. He saw something that we couldn't see, and his win was way bigger than ours. He was frustrated that our win was so low in our own minds. And what happened when we set the bar so low for ourselves, each player became the center of their own win. The point guard's win was to hit a bunch of threes. The center's win was to see how many dunks he could get in a game. Everybody's win became about themselves, about how many stats they could build in a short period of time. And it became very, very inward focused. And Coach said, we have bigger things to do than this. We learned a lesson that day. You see, there's a principle that has become common language among our leadership team here at the church. It's a principle we stole from some teaching from Andy Stanley. And it's simply this statement: clarify the win. Clarify the win. This is what it means. And I'll give you an example of how we use it. We're at the Family Fest several weeks back, right? And it was fun. There was tons of energy, and it was just a good time. And so many people left. I mean, a lot of you guys probably left going, hey, that was a wonderful event, just not knowing the full parameters of everything that happened. Like, hey, that was fun. My family enjoyed it. And don't get me wrong, we love doing stuff for your family to enjoy. But honestly, that wasn't our goal. Our goal was this. We didn't put on an event so we could all have fun. There's a lot of things we could have done for that. A lot of things we could have done cheaper for that, right? We had one goal for this. It was that we wanted to build a bridge into our community and people who were not currently plugged into a church home, that we would begin to build a relational bridge between ourselves and them, that they would trust us, that we'd be able to develop a relationship, that they would come into a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. Right? That was our goal. And it was clarified from the beginning of the event. So when we said, everybody had fun, we're like, okay, that's nice. That's fine. We had 400 people. Wonderful. That was really good. But that's still not what we did it for. Then we said, we had 230 people who were at the event that were not connected to Crossroads Church. Okay, now we're getting warmer. We had 105 people who do not have a church home who are on our campus enjoying our people. There's the home run. See, and we knew that. We knew what to measure because we knew what the win was. And we knew if we'd had 1,000 people and every single person was connected to a church somewhere in Lincoln, then I'd be like, well, we're done with that. Because it would not have been winning. It would have been fun, but would have not have accomplished our goal. See, one of the problems with this messenger school debacle was that we did not coach for us. I mean, he probably did and we weren't listening to it, but we didn't have the win clarified in our own minds. Here's the deal. Why don't we win more in our personal lives? Why don't we win more in our spiritual lives? I believe often is we set our win too low. Right? All we see is what's in front of us. And if we can beat that hurdle, then we're good. And God is saying, listen, I have made you more capable of that. I can see what you're capable of, and you're settling so low. This isn't what this is about. Paul says, run to win. We were just running to get through the game. Run to win. What's your win? I think one of the reasons we don't win as often is because we don't even know what our win is, right? We set our wins so low. So what is the win that we commonly see in church? So here's the problem. Is that sometimes, and I'm not speaking just our church, I'm not being negative, this happens naturally, right? You start coming to church, and what's the win? What's the win? Well, it appears as if, everybody seems nice and happy, so it appears as if the win is if I can convince everybody in church that I'm nice and happy, then I think that's the win, right? Right? If I can convince everybody that I've got my stuff together, then I win. Like, that's so low. So let's raise it. Let's raise the bar a little bit, okay? Let's raise it a little bit. If I accept Jesus into my heart, and I love him, and he loves me, and that's good. Now, the next win is I'm going to be nice, right? Everybody knows that all Christians are supposed to be nice, right? So I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to cuss too much, and I'm not going to drink too much, and I'm not going to, right? Right? I'm not going to yell at my kids. At least I won't hit them, right? I'm going to, if I can be nice, then I win. Okay, let's up it again, right? We all know that. Let's up it again. If I can pray and read the Bible, right? That sounds like a good bar, right? Let's win there. If I can pray and read the Bible 5 times this week, oh my goodness, only superstars do that, but we're going to shoot for it. If I pray and read the Bible 5 times this week, that I would really be winning, right? 'Cause I'm sure this is what Paul is talking about. I put myself into strict training. I beat my body. I make it a slave so that I could read the Bible in a year. Glory to God. I feel as if he might have something a little more for us. Are we settling for wins that are way down here? When God's saying, listen, I see what you're capable of even if you don't. I see what I've created you for. This isn't you performing to earn my love or anything. This is simply me calling greatness out of you. I have created you. You have my spirit alive inside of you. I have things predestined from before time began for you to accomplish. Go win. He says you are more than conquerors. We need to start believing it. But we set our win so low. The second reason that I believe that we tend to not see wins in our life, and it's really probably just an extension of this first one. The second reason is that we confuse health with winning. We confuse health with winning. Let me explain. So, at the beginning of my life, right, you're born, and assuming everything is right and you're just a healthy child, you grow up as a healthy child, from the time you're born until mid-20s or so, your health is kind of on a, you can run in the opposite direction, but it's kind of on a conveyor belt, an escalator, whatever. It's kind of moving towards greater health naturally, right? Most 25-year-olds can beat up most 5-year-olds that I know, right? That's normal. Why? Because without trying, we get healthier, stronger, faster, bigger, more mature, right? We naturally go that direction towards health. We can run the other way if we would like to, but that naturally we get our bodies develop and get mature. Then from 25 until death, the conveyor belt flips a switch and we start going the other way, right? Where everything is fighting now against our health, okay? So we can maintain the same amount of health, but we have to work a little bit harder at it, right? We get that. Yeah. We get that. Now here's the thing. So if just moderate health, right, just health is right here on this scale on the stage, right in the middle. And then we've got like, we'll say professional athletes over here, okay? This is like pristine health, like the picture perfect health, okay? And then over here on this side of the scale, we have death, like the epitome of unhealth, right? And so we've got this scale, this health scale, and we're here in the middle. This is what happens. And some of you who did sports as a child, and I'm going to go back to sports illustration because, well, one, Paul uses it and it fits well. You did sports as a child. What you did is that you were on your wins were driving you this direction, okay? Maybe genetically you were never going to make it all the way to, an NBA player. Fine. But your wins were moving you this way. This is what it was for me. Like in fourth grade, I wanted to win basketball games. So in fourth grade, like I'm shooting free throws with those little like knit stretch gloves after I shoveled my yard and like out in the front yard in the middle of winter. Why? Because I am running this way, right? And so I've got a win out in front of me and I'm fighting to get it. And then I've got a win out in front of me and I'm fighting to get it. And I got a win out in front of me and I'll do whatever I can to win. I've developed this culture of winning, physically speaking. And then I graduated college and got a job where I sat at a desk for a good chunk of the day, okay? And then all the winning went to the wayside. And then the conveyor belt started, right? And so without even trying, one day I found myself over here. And I go, I've put on 35 pounds in like 2 years. How did I do that? Like, I didn't even try. And at one point in life, I would have loved to put on 35 pounds in 2 years, but that didn't happen either. But, and so now I find myself on the other end of the scale. I'm like, I'm not the health that I desire. And this is what happens. All of a sudden, physically, and this has probably happened for many of us, all of a sudden, my win is no longer anything outside of me. My win is just getting back to normal health. My win is self-contained. My win is not about anything beyond me. My win is me. If I can be healthier, then that's good, right? We live in a very saturated mentality, right? When you go to, and it's over the top, right? Like, if I walk into a fast food place, why would you think I want to know the calorie count on this value meal? Like, come on, like, the worst marketing scheme ever. Anyway, but like everybody's all about health, right? Even though you shouldn't be, like Burger King. But Everybody's all about health, and yet we're still not all that more healthy. And I'll tell you why. Because health is a miserable win. It's a miserable goal. In fact, I would say health is not even a goal. It's a means to a goal. It feels like a goal when we're unhealthy. Here's another deal. Nobody wants to be healthy. They just don't want to be unhealthy. Is that not the case, right? I don't want to be healthy. If there were no side effects for being unhealthy, give me unhealth and I'll eat another cheeseburger, right? The only reason I want to be healthy is so that I'm not unhealthy. Health is not a goal, right? It's a means to a goal. And this is what I mean. Because if you ask an athlete, athletes don't ask the question, am I healthy? The rest of society is asking that, right? Am I healthy? Everybody who's like here-ish to here, right? We're asking the question, am I healthy? If you're up here, you're not asking the question, am I healthy? Health is irrelevant. In fact, I never once thought about my health while I was playing basketball. Never did. The question an athlete asks is not, am I healthy? The question a high-performing athlete asks is, am I strong enough? The question a high-performing athlete asks is, do I have what it takes? And that leaves with something. We have to know what it is you're strong enough for, right? Who's healthier, a tight end or a safety? Let me explain for those of you who are not football fans, okay? Tight end is the giant muscle head who's like 6'6" and like 300 pounds and yet toned, and he blocks and then sometimes he catches passes, right? Big guy. He needs to push people around. A safety is a guy that you put him in sweatpants and you wouldn't even know he's an athlete, right? He's skinny little guy. He's only 6 foot or under, just thin. He's quick, but he's just a normal-sized person, right? Who's healthier? You can make arguments on both sides. Guess what? Neither one of them care. The question is not, am I healthy? Because the tight end who's defending and blocking the quarterback, he doesn't care if he's healthy. He cares if his quarterback is not getting tackled, right? So if he's putting on a little chub, if it helps him keep his quarterback safe, whatever. If his quarterback's getting sacked too often, if he's in the NFL, he would lose job security. But on the second thing, he's going, I better get myself back. Why? Why am I getting beat? Okay, I need to work on some quickness, some footwork drills. When he works on those quick footwork drills, he's getting healthier. He's like, no, I need to tone up a little bit. I'm getting soft, so I need to tone up so I can be stronger, so I can hold my ground. So the quarterback doesn't, and guess what? When he tones up, he's getting healthier. Health is a means to an end. It's not the end in of itself, right? So now let's move into the spiritual world. Paul is over here, and he's running hard. Listen, he knows what his win is. Read, like I said, read 1 Corinthians 8 through 10. You're going to hear over time, his heart beats for the lost. And he just wants to see, he'll give up anything if he just see people come to know Jesus. He's not talking about health. Is it interesting that in the church we talk so much about spiritual health, and yet we never see a single thing? Oh, this is off the cuff. I don't know. I don't read a whole lot about the biblical authors talking about spiritual health. Right? Show me where we just talk about just being healthy. Because health is not a goal. Paul is running to the win. And guess what? He's studying the Word because he needs it to share the gospel. He's spending time on his knees because he needs it to have the presence of God. He's doing all the things. He's connecting with the body of Christ because he needs the empowerment for the mission that he has. He's going to go and he's going to win. He's running to win. And then there's us who so frequently go, man, I just want some spiritual health. And we wonder why it's so hard to get there. Same reason why it's so hard to lose weight. If it's all about me, I need to be spiritually healthier. Why? So I can be spiritually, more comfortable? So I can feel better about myself? Why? Ephesians 2:10, for you've been created to do good works, which God prepared in advance for you to do. Are you healthy? whatever, irrelevant. Are you winning? Are you winning? So where is your fight? Where are you winning? I'm going to just give homework. I don't know any other way to do this collectively, so you just got to go home and do this. But I'm going to give us some homework. I want you to go home, and I want you to clarify the win. Just like the leadership, as we planned for our family fast, we said, how do we know if we win? When this is over, how do we know if we win? Well, it's if we reach people who are not currently connected to a church. When it's over, I said we won. We get to look at it, we won. But so often, God has this bigger picture for us. He sees our potential. He's saying, listen, the win's up here, and you're settling with what's in front of you. Listen, if health is your goal, you're going to remain unhealthy. So what are the relationships in your life that God has placed you in where he's got a calling for you to maybe share the gospel if somebody doesn't know Christ? Maybe it's to show love to somebody who's down and out and you've just been putting them off to the side because their problem isn't your problem. I don't know what it is, but what is the thing in front of you right now? What is the playing field in front of you right now that God says, I've made you a victor, run to win, but we don't even know what a win looks like. Let's clarify the win. Am I healthy? I don't know. Hard question to answer. Am I winning? Do I have what it takes? Am I strong enough? We have to know what we're playing for. So what are we playing for? For some, maybe it's where you're at in life right now. It's family. Man, family is what's in front of you. And you just gotta, maybe for you, maybe this is what God's having you do. Pick every member of your family. And for some, if you're married, you got kids, then do that. If you're not married, your parents, siblings, aunt and uncles that you're in connection with, ask this question. What's the win in that relationship? Well, what's the win? What am I praying for? What am I hoping for? And go through your family. How do I win in this relationship? What is my goal for my oldest daughter, my second daughter, my youngest daughter, my baby girl? What's my win? What's my win for my wife? What's the win? Let's expand it. For my work relationships. What's the win for me in my neighborhood? I know my neighbors don't know the Lord, but at this point in life, in this stage in life, I might as well just keep on doing my thing. Where's my focus? Now, here's the deal. Sometimes you can have so many wins, we're paralyzed by the task. Pick what it is that God's speaking to you. Pick the area that God's saying, listen, there are kingdom victories to be had. Let's stop. And here's the deal. Health, that health goal, this is what a health goal is. My goal is to be adequate, right? Another way to put it, my goal is to not be dying because that's the opposite end of the scale, right? And yet sometimes we do that in the spiritual world. Like if I can survive, like our goals are survival, that is a sorry goal. And sometimes that's our mindset and our spiritual lives, like, God save me, and then please don't let me just get clobbered by this miserable, ugly world. If I can just still be saved by the time I die, then glory to God, I win. Listen, you're settling for this tiny little, wimpy, little self-indulgent win. God said, I've made you for more than this. Don't cling to the winds of the past. God has something for you now. He's got a game for you to engage in. First line of that verse, do you not know that in a race all the runners run? There's some of us who were running and we don't even know we're in the race. We're just trying to stay alive, not get trampled by other runners. God has made you to be a conqueror, a victor in Christ. My prayer is that we would begin to win. That Crossroads Church